Alright, welcome back. Time for another ride aboard the Bone Shaker. Let's see what we get this time, and let's hope it can carry us all the way to the end. Alright, looks like we can get a crack at the Stygian with the exiled Woken ally. We got two Crypt Builders, obviously powerful effect if we can discard it. Vine Grasps can be nice in the early game to hit those units in the back, and Crystalline Seeds I've been liking quite a lot recently. 6 Frostbite is just a lot to apply to units on the bottom floor or whatever, plus it can giving can triggers for free, that sort of thing. So yeah, as usual with the exiled Awoken, lacking those heals makes the Awoken tanks a little less useful, so we're probably going to be looking for Stygian units to be our tanks, unless we can pick up some major healing from our card rewards. Yeah, not much more to say before we see what we're dealing with, so let's check out our artifact. Okay, Cuddlebeard has certainly carried me through many a run. Frostbite's a very powerful effect, and applying more of it and making it not decay is excellent. Totem Fragment can be good. Spell Weakness 2 on the final floor. Obviously, when you have a big spell like Crypt Builder, can deal a large chunk of damage, but I think we'll be looking at the Frostbite here. There's several synergies within the Stygian units, and maybe we can upgrade our champion to apply Frostbite as well. So we'll be hoping to do that. Unfortunately, didn't get there. We had the other two upgrades, but the sweep upgrade is pretty reasonable. We can get some use out of the spell weakness, hopefully, again with the big spell. If we can get a couple stacks in the early bosses, this should take them out. And if we are lucky enough to pick up the Frostbite upgrade later, we get a sweep Frostbite unit, and that's phenomenal. Alright, so off to the first fight. And we have the Enemy's Age floor trial. Looks like these are the slightly tougher opponents that are going to be coming in, so really a sad time that we didn't get the Frostbite upgrade, though. This Crystalline Seeds could be doing a lot of work. As usual, I'm happy to take this challenge. The Frozen Lances will reduce the damage we take a little bit, so this shouldn't be too deadly, hopefully. And we won't be looking to engage these directly. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of our trained stewards, but this is weak enough that our champion can survive a hit, so we like that. And here, I'm going to probably go ahead and pop this on the top floor. Just go ahead and kill these guys. These ones will, even though there's more of them, will actually do less damage by the time they reach here and their rage decays. And while it would be excellent to get it on the 45 health unit, it's just not doing that much damage ultimately. So, and we could even go ahead and Crypt Builder this rather than apply these Root Seeds. The Root Seeds would be good for future turns, but I'm kind of pro just taking this thing out. So reasonable first turn. We do. Ooh. So we find ourselves in a little spot of trouble, as we have yet to draw any of our trained stewards. Pretty unlucky there. We would love to throw one in the front to tank, as is. We're going to have to just Crypt Builder once again and just barely survive the hit, unfortunately meaning the Collector gets away. Alternatively, we could kill the Collector and let our champion die. It's not that strong against the boss. But our trained stewards aren't going to kill the boss on their own, so we're hoping for those spell weakness stacks to let us do a big Crypt Builder. Otherwise, we're looking at quite a bit of higher damage, I think. So we are going to let this guy get away. Unfortunate, but just kind of unlucky draws there. A little bit of damage here, and we get one Train Steward. Should draw a second one next turn, one would hope. Especially if we go ahead and throw down some Root Seeds for extra draw. These would have been nice earlier, but of course we drew them on our off turns. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and put as much in front of our champion as we can. And I believe these are all the units in our deck, so we may as well just throw down more of them for the following turn. And now we're just hoping to stack up some spell weakness and draw our big spells. Okay, we got there, so that's dead. So, strong first fight. Only a small amount of damage. Alright, and what are we looking at? Spell weakness 1, we can do better with our champion. Flash Freeze, quite good with the Frostbite relic. Obviously 10 Frostbite's a huge amount. So, great on bosses, just consistent damage, and even on like a 100 health unit. You put this on the bottom floor, you're getting 10 damage a floor, it's like 30 damage for one is pretty good, but I'm also looking at this Titan's Gratitude, given that we have 2 of these offering cards, so if we can set that up to discard it, that could be pretty strong. Yeah, so I think even though this could be quite good, I do like the synergy here, so we'll go for it, and that's a third attune spell as well. We could be looking at some sort of spell power synergy there. Here we have a heal, a sharpen, and a razor sharp edge. This could end up being strong on our champion. It is a little dangerous against things like spikes or sweep to reduce his health, but otherwise giving him 10 attack, obviously, with a sweep unit, that can be quite powerful. Sharpen, I'm less excited about. It's just a little too expensive for what it does. It's kind of an awkward combination where spikes usually want on your front unit, obviously, but attack usually on your back units. So I really find a good spot for this card, especially at the cost that it's priced at. A heal here could be good. We don't have any healing in the deck at the moment, as I had mentioned. And regardless of what tank we end up having a heal for it could be beneficial. So I do like both of these. I think since we already have the Root Seeds to be pumping our champion a little bit, I'm gonna take a heal. We'll usually find a spot for it, at least in the early fights. And here, as I said, I'd prefer Stygian to Awoken units, but I'm still of the opinion that Steel Merchants are just critical in the early game. Perhaps that could be different with the spell weakness here. Let's see where we're going next. Our next flag is Awoken as well, and then we don't get Stygian until all the way out here. So yeah, this is one of the few times where I would consider perhaps going to the Magic Merchant and a Stygian banner. There are some spells in our deck already that we can improve. Taking Consume off the Crystalline Seeds would be great. Any sort of damage on either Titan's Gratitude or the Crypt Builders makes them extremely strong spells. So I am a little interested in trying that out. So maybe I will. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if my usual strategy of just hitting the first Steel Merchant is correct, or if we can deviate from that path a little bit. We got double stack. I'd really like to remove Consume here instead, making this... Oh, interesting, that goes to 14 instead of 16 because it interacts with Trinket. Either way, spending this much money on a Consume spell, not always wrong, but I don't think it's the play here. We can reduce cost, maybe on these Crypt Builders, since we don't always get to discard them. And 20 magic power, I'm sure we'll find a spot for it on one of our lances. Let's see what unit we got. Okay, So we're already getting spell weakness from our champion. We could double up on that effect and go really hard, but since we did pick up the Frostbite trinket, I think I will just go for the Frostbite 5 here. And then, let's see, 20 magic power can certainly go on the lands. And yeah, I will reduce the cost of one of these. And I think I will reroll just because there's some basic upgrades that would help. Fortunately, I didn't get any of the straight up just 10 magic power, which are, of course, 50 magic power and an untuned card. Those would have been great. As is, we'll just reduce the other crypt builder and throw consume other lands. And now we have a pretty strong arsenal of powerful spells. And these guys are coming up with spikes if we take the trial. That makes our only 2 units that actually do anything kill themselves rather rapidly, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to skip this one. And we have the sweet boss as well, so our champion's gonna have a hard time. Oh, it looks like they're coming in with spikes anyway, so that's even worse for us. That said, we're gonna set up on a further floor because I do want to have room for a train steward in the front. So we'll go ahead and deploy that, and then 2 sweep units. I could throw a lance at this, but since both our units have sweep anyway, and it won't kill it to get rid of the spike damage, it doesn't end up being super relevant, so I'd rather throw a steward up here for a potential collector the following turn. As indeed we got. Okay, and here the Vine Grasp ends up being quite good. We can either get rid of the spikes to save some damage on the Cold Celia, or we can get rid of this, which saves damage on both these units. I think that's a bit better. Just go ahead and clear that guy out. I guess we get to play our whole hand here, so I am gonna get the Cold Celia a little bit of power because again our hero just died to the champion, or the boss, unfortunately. And then if I play both of these, I would kill this guy and stop 2 damage there. But I think I'd rather put some damage on this Disciple, even though some of it will be killed off. Okay. And this time we will be grasping the Spiker. Saves us quite a bit of damage. Again, put more attack on this. I'd really like to apply this to the boss at this point. This stuff's dying anyway, so it's not relevant. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that one. We might take some fire damage here just due to the fact the boss is going to kill our champion right away, and the Cold Celia is not going to fare much better. Plus, because we step on this floor, there's less time for the Frostbite to take, unfortunately, whenever we do stack up. We would like to, again, eliminate the Spiker. That said, it doesn't look like we can. We'd like to get lucky with the Crypt Builder, of course. But we have to decide whether we'd rather chance that or just spend the full mana to play it. And I think I'd rather maybe get more train stewards down. So I'm gonna play one here. Let's see. Assuming I can kill this next turn, which is maybe a bold assumption. Well, we know we're drawing Crypt Builder next turn, so I would really like to eliminate this guy, so that I can hit this guy with the Crypt Builder. So I think that's what I'll go for. And we might as well start with this. If we get lucky, then we'll cast this for free. And we do get extremely lucky, so that's great. And then, yeah, I guess we might as well just stack some attack on her. And we drew another Crypt Builder, so alright, fantastic. Pretty lucky there. Offering Token, another good synergy with the Crypt Builders, though medium card on its own, of course. Does actually put you down a card ultimately. These both decent damage spells here. I'm a little less excited about Tornado, I think. It's just a little expensive. The Helical Chrysalis, yeah, I mean, it's good damage, though I think the 3 big damage spells we have are sufficient for what we're doing at the moment. So I'll just take the Offering Token to synergize with our discard cards, as well as just draw us into stuff we need. And here we have our choice of another Vine Grasp. Don't think we need a third one, although it's not insane. I do think it's something we could potentially do. Sting yet again, or Sting. Sting's interesting. It's like a slightly better Frozen Lance, I guess, but since we have all the Frozen Lance, it's probably not necessary. I might be more interested in this now that I have 2 different sweep units, so I'm gonna give this a go. Look to upgrade the Cold Celia with perhaps a Quick to make it really pop there. And then we have our choice of duplicate any unit or health and an artifact. Sure. Okay. So while Awoken, again, is not the faction we're necessarily looking to pick stuff up for, I'm still going to check that flag out. As far as duplication, I would be happy to either pick up an extra Seeds or an extra Crypt Builder. Both are pretty good in our deck right now. The Artifact could be great, but I just want to take another look at a unit. Since they aren't upgraded, we might need some help with this boss. We have our choice of even more sweep units. I could pick this up just because the 30 health is sort of tanky for now, but I do think it's going to end up being a pretty bad card at the end of the day. We just really have no need of 3 different sweep units in our final composition. But it wouldn't be insane to pick it up specifically for this boss fight. And like, maybe if I give it enough health upgrades, it is a sufficient tank later on, though never a good one. So I think I need the help enough. I don't like that this is what we got, but we'll grab it. And definitely go to the cavern before I duplicate in case we can power a spell up in some way. Okay, so we have our options of various buffs. We can either buff up a unit with some health. For 3 Pyre health, we can make our Pyre heal itself, or get the big buff with 10 and Heartless. Since we are playing Awoken, we do have 1 healing spell. We might pick up some more. I don't think I'm going to go for Heartless here, which of course means units can't heal. So then it's a choice of the other 2 or just nothing. This is really great to get when you already have a fully upgraded unit, because it allows you to go over the 2-slot maximum, which is great. As is, it's alright. I could put it on the Husk Hermit we just picked up, make it really tanky. Blood for Blood can be good if you're sort of just leaking small amounts of units. It sort of makes that damage go away. But I feel like your deck isn't necessarily running into trouble with this. I'll do this again. It's not the best time for it, but that unit's sort of just here to help with the next fight, and that'll make it a lot better for this upcoming fight. So good enough, I think. Yeah, I am definitely looking at these 2. The Crypt Builder synergizes with 2 cards in our deck, though the Titan's Gratitude synergy is not easy to set up. The Offering Token's a lot more obvious of one. You don't really want to draw a million of these in your hand either, so I think I'm going to go for the seeds. It's just a very good card for us. It ends up dealing a whole lot of damage, and yeah. Even if it ends up being not great later on, at least consumes itself, but I do think it's just going to be good forever. And here we're getting Armor on Slay. Not a very scary version of this boss, but the easiest of all of them, honestly. Let's see. They are raging out on the bottom pretty heavily, so I think we're, well, slightly awkward, I guess. If we set up on the top floor, we can't take advantage of our spell weakness for the boss. The middle floor has one space less, so we don't have room to fit all of our units. And of course the bottom floor means we're taking like 1d7 damage right away. But I think just for the purposes of actually killing the boss, we do have to do it on the bottom. And just try to use some spells to clear these guys out before they hit us too hard. And that's exactly what we'll do here. Unit, and here I guess we're gonna play Crypt Builder, hoping to get to our heal at some point. Alright, we did it, so 100% playing that one. I guess I might as well play the Offering Token. Cycles through a dead weight, that's fine. Definitely playing the seeds, gets that going on the boss as well. And then we'll just play a steward somewhere. No reason not to lance. We'll lance. That's a painful one. Okay, we drew a few spells, but our tank is having a rough time. I'm glad we picked up that extra health. It'll end up making a pretty big difference. I guess we'll just give our champion a little bit of help here. And here we're seeing the effects of skipping that early unit upgrade shop, is that we're just having trouble with units, and part of it is the awkward positioning because of how this boss got laid out, but nevertheless, it's pretty rough. Okay, so you're just healing, and you're gonna die to sweep, so there's no reason to Vine Grasp that. Continue. Let's see. This might just be a turn where we play some Train Stewards down. Definitely play a second one on this floor. I guess I won't play one into the boss attack. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Stack up some more root seeds. Might as well grasp this for a little bit of damage, and then we just have to decide if we'd rather have the frostbite on the boss or on this thing. I think I want to get it on the boss because I'm a little bit afraid of it just killing us too quickly and us not stacking up enough things on it. Okay, we did not draw our heal again, so that's unfortunate, because that means this guy will eliminate the front and we have sort of less survival here. I guess we could crypt build to eliminate this guy. That doesn't look too bad to me. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, that gets a lot of extra damage. And then I won't waste the spell weakness on something like a Vine Grasp, so I may as well use that up here. But I do have to decide if I want to spend less of my mana on a Train Steward or maybe a Razor Sharp Edge or Frozen Lance. I don't think it's the Lance, I don't think it's the Root Seeds, it could be the Edge. Our champion is protected for 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. This is about 40 damage, that's probably good enough. And then I'll just do this. managed to get 5 stacks of spell weakness and 36 frostbite. Let's go ahead and look for a crypt builder. Didn't get there. Are we likely to draw one? We are fairly likely to draw a crypt builder, so I'm gonna not touch these stacks yet. If we get unlucky, let's see, we're drawing 5 cards, 6 with this. So in the absolute worst case, we're looking at a restoration detonation, which is a lot worse than this. So in retrospect, I shouldn't have discarded the root seeds because we need the draw, but I'm gonna take the chance here anyway. Just go ahead and make this creature. Okay, we get there. So, pretty good fight. Let's see if we got some good rewards. Alright, interesting options here. Siren Song, generally just a very powerful card. If you can give it something like Permafrost or Holdover, it can really help you deal with the units that leak through. So, yeah, just a strong card. Channel Song, again, I'm not a huge fan of Channel Song, and we still have all these stewards getting in the way, though for the next fight or two, actually pulling a train steward is fine. They're just, the plus 20 makes them big enough to be useful, but at the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan of it. Harness Titan is very interesting. We can get it to stack on these crypt builders, and on the Titan's Gratitude ends up getting us somewhere, but we also have a lot of spells that don't care about magic power. So I think this is between Siren Song and just nothing. I think I will try the Siren Song. With the Frostbite we're stacking as well, even extremely tough units with Daze 3 and the Pyre hitting them should die very easily, so. Okay, for our second reward we get our choice of an Awoken unit. As I had mentioned before, we're a little short on healing for these tanks with our 1 restoration detonation and nothing else. So it's going to be really hard to make them work. The Animus is alright with the attack increase spells we have that can get going somewhere. So we'll pick it up. We're pretty desperately short on tanks at the moment. We'll probably end up having to use this guy and hopefully pick up a second tank somewhere. And of course we get our choice of upgrade here. We're not struggling for space in any way, so I'm not worried about that. Draw is always kind of my default. Just drawing through the crappy parts of your deck can be extremely helpful. That said, energy is something of a concern. We do have a couple of more expensive spells, and we get a bit of extra draw from the root seeds. We also have those some zeros and stuff like offering token. Yeah. So I think this is close. I could see either of these being correct. I'm gonna go for draw. Okay, so as I mentioned, I would really like to visit a Merchant of Steel, but at the same time, we really need another tank. We currently have 1, and it's not a very good one. So we might be forced to go this way. Unfortunately, there isn't then a Merchant of Steel up until here, so we're looking at 2 more fights with our units completely unupgraded, which is starting to get pretty dangerous, but I just don't know how this squad wins any of the later fights. Even if we upgrade some of the stuff with health or large stone, they're just not good enough tanks. So this is getting dangerous, but I want to look at another unit. Right. So if we get lucky, all right, Guard of the Unnamed is perfect. Obviously, more frostbiting and cold sealies would be cool or whatever, but as I mentioned, we need tanks. And this one, even unupgraded, we can get the incants going and at least make it survive something, so... pretty happy about that. We'll just have to make sure that whatever floor we want to cast our spells on, he's sitting on that same floor. Should be easy enough. And for our champion, perfect, we got the Frostbite upgrade, which even though the spell weakness stuff has been working out okay, and I wouldn't mind getting more spell weakness, getting 12 Frostbite when we have a Cuddlebeard is absolutely phenomenal. And the attack change is actually fairly significant as well, since we already have Sweep. Alright, and let's see, we can remove Consume. As I mentioned, I would like to do that on the Crystalline Seeds. Magic Power is great on our Crypt Builders and our Titan's Gratitude, and we got cost reduction again, so pretty good shop. I don't need to worry about money too much yet. I will want to save some before a trip to the Merchant of Steel, but for the time being, I think we can spend pretty aggressively, so we'll go ahead and consume from the seeds. Here it's a little bit tricky. This is a little easier to cast, obviously, and makes it go from 25 to 75. This is kind of our big finisher spell, so making that better is good, but I think I'd rather have just something that's a little more consistent here. So we'll upgrade that one with spell power. And then cost reduction. I would rather save these slots for more spell power, so I'm not going to fill those up, even though making those cheaper would be good. Might skip that one out and do a reroll, see if we can get something a little bit better, because I would just be doing it on something like the Root Seeds, which are fine, but let's go ahead and reroll here, see if we get something cool. We got double stack, but can't afford it, so we'll do another 10 magic power. So this time, let's see, yeah, I'll finish one of the Crypt Builders. Quick upgrade. And then, yeah, we'll minus cost this. It'll help us find cantriggers and whatnot, so. Alright, cool. We have to think a little bit about what order we want to arrange our creatures in. Multi-strike is way too scary when our tanks suck, so we're definitely not taking this challenge. But we would like to have our Frostbiting Sweepers as low as possible to get the Frostbite rolling for the whole, gosh, I can't speak, for as many levels of the train as possible. And then I guess we end up wanting our Husk Hermit there as well, because our guard wants to be where the spell weakness is. But I could also just see wanting the guard on the bottom. Doesn't synergize with our spell weakness as much, but we're likely to want to use some of these spells just to reduce incoming damage for the time being at least. So I might want to arrange it that way, but it might just depend on the order we draw the cards in, rather than what we want. We do like seeing these guys. They die to all of our units basically, and don't do very much damage, so that's good. Top floor being smallest is also something we like to see, I think. And here, yeah, as I said, I will put the guard on the bottom, even though there's a bit of anti-synergy there with him applying spell weakness. We kind of want to cast spells a floor above, but I'm alright with it. And I'm going to save this space for the other sweep unit and just go ahead and put an Animus above. I don't know if there's any reason to put it at the top versus on the second floor. I can't think much of one. So I'll just go ahead and put it here, and then put a train steward at the top, and I might as well hit something in order to get our cant. Alright, and we'll get our Coliseum going, we'll get our Husk going, and now we're just looking to cast spells on the bottom to get these incants. Lucky that we had the sweep unit there for the extra money. Alright. Again, this is where we're wishing we had some extra energy, but it's alright. No reason to Vine Grasp these guys as they're dying to sweeps anyway. So we'll just fire enough from the front guy. And we do, of course, want to play it before Titan's Gratitude here to maximize our chances of discarding correctly. And I will Razor Sharp Edge as well, I think. Yeah, it seems pretty strong to me. Or is it better to do this and then be guaranteed? Yeah, it's probably actually better. So let's start with you. We discarded poorly. So we'll just this out. It's fine. And now thinking about it some more, perhaps it is correct to have the Animus on the same floor as the Guard in order to take advantage of these root seeds, because this is the target that we wanted on, and we want the incant triggers as well. So that's something that's kind of interesting. Here we can't eliminate any of these guys, unfortunately, so we're looking at 16 damage, we're at 16 health. Okay, so we don't have to cast that many spells to survive. I will play this to save some fire health. Get our root seed online, and there goes some damage. Alright, slightly awkward draw here. We do at least get our heal. I can't really Vine Grasp anything. So we'll go ahead and buy more root seeds, and you're dying, so we'll just fire this off for the extra incant. And we just hope to apply a lot of Frostbite here, which it looks like we are going to be able to do. So that's great news. And there we go, we're killing. Alright. I am still going to be pretty afraid until we can get to a Steel Merchant and get these units popping a little bit better, but for now we're doing okay. Oh boy, that is extremely powerful. This isn't bad either, honestly. Ice Storm pretty good if you can upgrade it, but we already have some upgrades we want. Spell damage on, and the other two choices I believe are better. The Frostbite incant is pretty disgusting with the Cuddlebeard. The cost is obviously a little bit of an issue. We're definitely going to be looking for a energy upgrade off the next boss. But I think I will still take this. And then maybe our bottom floor ends up being something... That's interesting, actually. Because their champion only takes up one slot. So like making it the champion plus that thing plus the guard is a little bit weird because it leaves an empty slot. So we may have to do something like all the sweep units at the bottom and then the guard, the Animus, and the Frostbite guy above. But regardless of how it ends up looking, I think this will be quite a powerful addition to our deck. Custodian's okay. This is also okay as an incant trigger, but the draw doesn't happen until next turn. Kind of whatever. I might take the Pyrogrow here. We are already running into some energy issues. This is a pretty good way to get us out of that, so gotta pick that up. Take a small pause here. Okay, here we are continuing our adventure. As I mentioned, I want to make sure I have a lot of money for this Merchant of Steel. We got lots of units that need good upgrades. So I'm not looking to spend too much here, so I have to just kind of decide which of the free options are better. I might do something minor at the merchant. If we get more spell power upgrades, for instance, I certainly won't be re-rolling anything. So here just picking up more money is good, and caverns can be helpful. Removal would be good. I think we still have, all of our train stewards and basic cards. So definitely looking to get rid of those. What are we hitting here? We're hitting Artifact in the Cave. I think I will go to the left just because of the money. There's a good chance we can't take the trial once again. So yeah, we did get magic power as well as a double stack. Double stack hilarious with Siren Song, but not really necessary usually. It could be interesting here, but it makes the spell a little expensive, so I think I'm happy to leave that one alone, especially again with the money issue. But I will put more magic power on one of our good tune spells, or honestly, I could put it on our only healing spell and be pretty happy about that as well. And that might actually be the route I go. These deal enough damage for the time being, and this is the only way we can heal a unit, so I'd like to make that a bit stronger. And hope for a good event, as always. Okay, this is the X damage, or the X card event here. So we can pick up some Rage and Armor, some extra card draw, or this Burnout Spike's obviously terrible for us. So, is any of this good? We don't have a big surplus of energy at the moment, which makes X cost cards not great in general, and the Hellhorn Spike doesn't appeal too much. A little bit of Rage and Armor, not really what we're looking for. The Woken Spike is a little bit more interesting. If we can hit a couple of good cards, make them free for the future, that ends up being okay. So it's not a bad way to spend some of your energy. That said, we do have some zero-cost cards and like these train stores that we don't even care about, so I don't think that's what we're looking for. So unfortunately, not a great cave. Alright, now we just hope to get through here, hope the Steel Merchant doesn't suck, and then maybe we'll be on our way to victory. And yes, clearly something we can't take. If it was just the minor enemies, I would maybe think about it, but with the boss getting a spell shield, that's going to be too much, especially with it being, once again, a sweet boss. We are probably in for a pretty rough time here, honestly. Let's see, it hits for 9 damage. So our champion can survive even a single hit. I don't think we have any way to make it tougher. And our Gold Celia survives exactly 1 hit. So, this is honestly going to be extremely difficult. Our Animus also doesn't survive any hits. Wow, this is very bad. We might actually just die to this boss. I don't see a great way to beat it, but certainly won't make it any easier if we take the trial. So. And we got a small floor on the bottom. Have to think about what that could mean for us. One thing we can do to sort of help us deal with the boss is get the Glacial Seal really rolling on it. That can be a way to apply some Frostbite, and if we do get to do that, we want to do that as soon as possible. So we want the Glacial Seal on an early floor, and that means we want the Guard on an early floor as well, which only leaves room for our Tethys. Now, unfortunately, that would get our Tethys killed. But we can maybe just jump a train sword in front of it for the time being, and then leave these units out with the sweep and hope we get what we need next turn. Yeah, I think that's just gonna have to be it, so go ahead and play these. And then look at the plate gold Celia on the second floor where it can apply a little bit of extra frostbite to the boss. We have 1 mana left. Definitely don't want to hit these guys, they'll screw up the math. So it's a question of Train Steward versus just do nothing, and we should have room for the Train Steward. We're going to go tank here with the Frostbite guy, and a tank here. Yeah, that's everything, so we're totally fine. Just getting a Train Steward at the top. Thank you for your service, Mr. Stewart. Will be missed dearly. Alright, and here we did get our tank. Can he even survive a single attack, though? We're getting attacked for 14. Alright, so he does at least survive for now. That's good. Go ahead and toss this out there. There can't. And the Animus of Will, I actually forgotten about my unit math, I'm going to be honest, but it's completely useless against the boss, so it's not really a huge deal. We'll just go ahead and put it at the top, I guess. We could just not play it and play this, but I think that ends up taking too much damage, so. Put that up there, skip out on this one. This is not off to a great start on a fight that's already going to be hard for us. Once again, can we even survive? We're taking 8 damage, so yeah, we should be able to survive here with a couple of triggers. Play our Hermit at the top here. Then just play anything we can. Do we need to play this Crystalline Seeds? Maybe we don't. Certainly one of these. And then, should I play Root Seeds on this because it's the most likely to survive the boss? That seems pretty insane to me, but I think I still want to get this Frostbite out because it'll help us kill this guy who's about to get pretty buff. And it's not like he's going to have a lot of health by the time the boss rolls around. The plus side is these guys keep spawning in the back, so we're not taking that much damage. I do need to get the Glacial Seal out here. Actually, I'm going to put it all the way in the back. It's sort of important at the moment. Get our Pyrogrow, free and can trigger, plus the extra energy we might need. And let's see, you're not dying. And you're killing my Train Steward. It's a little unfortunate. He would deal 14 damage to the Pyre. Yeah, I think I will go ahead and burn a Lance in here. Back to the top floor. Okay, we get our Respite. It's good. Unfortunate time to draw. Less cards, I guess, but it's okay. You're taking a lot of damage. I don't know if this does anything anywhere, really. I think I'm just going to... Well, do I care about this having extra armor? It's really all about casting as many spells as possible next turn, but I guess I might as well give this a shot. Though saving some health on this could also matter, so let's try it like that. Okay. Love to see this. Love to see any card that's free, because again, we're just looking to get as much Frostbite as we can. Restoration Detonation, certainly pretty good. We could pull the boss to the front first, deal damage to it. I'm not sure how much it matters with lifesteal, but suppose... No, we do want to actually eliminate this guy because he's going to get buffed here. But the Frostbite will kill him in pretty short order anyway. So yeah, you know what? Let's try this. Is it good? I don't know. But we're just going to put 32 stacks of Frostbite on this boss and hope that does anything whatsoever. We get to put a little bit more here, which is good. Really hoping this hits. Yes, alright. That was fantastic. This is not easy though. You're dying in 3 hits, so Razor Sharp Edge does do something. Right, getting 23 health. Yeah, what about you? Well, you're dying in less hits, so no reason to pump you really. Not actually sure what the math is on these versus the Frozen Lands, but just do that for the extra draw. Fortunately, this floor not slowing the boss down too much. This might oddly be a situation where we Siren Song the boss into the pyre. This floor's not going to do anything anyhow, and that way he gets a bunch of days for these Frostbite stacks to do some work. That said, I think I have to play the Titan's Gratitude for extra damage. I should do the math on this, but it's kind of a lot. So our Pyre does 30, our Frostbite's doing 37. So it's currently... it's about 6 turns or so, which we can't quite survive. Yeah, I'm gonna fire this off, and you know, if we're unlucky enough to discard the Siren Song, then I guess it wasn't meant to be. Okay, we are lucky, so at that point we just play our Crypt Builder, our Blind Grasp, and then we give you days 3. And pretty sure we survived this now. So, very dangerous boss fight there. Got pretty lucky to draw what we did, and hopefully after this our units will be tough enough to actually survive a hit or two. Okay, that said, we have some interesting options here. Spell Weakness, Urchin Spines could be good. Tossing that on a boss is nice, or just using it for Incant Trigger or whatever. And then we have either an Offering or a card that can power an Offering, both doing something similar. We have only one way to discard, sorry, 2 ways to discard this. How worried are we about the random discard on Drain? As we saw, it was a little bit tricky with the Siren Song there, but that was a pretty specific situation. I think usually we can get the other cards out of our hand that we want to play before playing it. So then the question becomes, how good is 3 sap for 1 mana? And it's okay. I think I'm gonna take it. The little bit of Offering synergy we have is pretty good. Okay, we have Snare for rooting an enemy. That could be really strong. Again, the Frostbite we have working extra hard means that an enemy just staying on a floor an extra turn will often provide a lot of extra damage. So I don't hate that, and it's a free trigger. These 2 heals could be strong though as well. Again, we are looking for the Husk Hermit to be a tank, and it's just not that good of one. It doesn't have any way to defend itself, so having some ways to heal it would be good, and as such I think I'll take the Focus Growth. Alright, and we finally get to visit our Merchant of Steel, 320 gold, decent amount. We got a Large Stone and attacking health. Those aren't bad. Think about the Large Stone a little bit. In the meantime, let's check out our artifact. We can either have extra attack on our Pyre, or our frozen cards become free. We have no synergy with card freezing, and we have a couple of discards, so we're not really even looking to put perma freeze on cards. So we'll just take the boon, it's okay. Especially with the Siren Song, can do a little bit extra work. Not sure if it matters whether we hit the cavern before or after the Merchant of Steel. I'm gonna go for before. Let's see how it turns out for us. Okay, and we have a choice of how we'd like to get gold and the Heaven's Gold artifact that makes us stronger with gold. Let's see. As I mentioned, we don't have a huge energy surplus, so the Gift of Gratitude, it's okay, but not exactly what we want. And Petty Theft, as usual, this late in the run, is a little bit weak. So it might just be picking up Heaven's Gold to make our pyre just that bit stronger, or it could be honest for a little bit of extra money. We've been on a pretty poor run so far. We're hoping the fights get easier going forward. So maybe this is worth it. Yeah, I'll try it. Worst case, we get only like 40 or 80 gold out of it, and it's still okay. Shouldn't get in the way of our deck too tremendously. Okay, so now for the interesting part, the large stone I think is really, really interesting to think about here, because we could put it on one of these two tanks, and then a 3-slot tank plus a Glacial Seal plus a Titan's Bane fits nicely on a floor. But of course it leaves our other floor too heavy. So we have to think about whether we want to do that at the cost of not using one of these units, likely the Animus of Will, versus skipping over this, which is pretty tough because the health is really useful, and just going to some of the smaller upgrades and hoping to reroll is something a little bit better suited. I don't know, I kind of like the idea of making a large guard with a Glacial Seal behind, and then our Tethys as well, and just going really hard on the incants on that floor and making a survivable tank. And then a Husk Hermit doing his best along with Cold Celia, and we just sort of hope Frostbite kills most everything, including the bosses. So I'm gonna try that, and it means we're not likely to use the Animus of Will. You know, it kind of did its job. So, alright, we're gonna give that a shot. And we're gonna just look to give this even more health, I think. And the attack can pretty easily go on our big sweep unit. That seems good. And let's see what we've got. Endless, so I'm glad we went with the large stone because Endless is pretty crappy. There's not a ton of reason to apply it to anything. A little sad that we didn't leave room for a further incant on this. We could have just put health on the Hermit, but I'll still put the incant on the Glacial Seal. It can stack up a little bit of armor and be our second line of defense. And then we'll put the Battle Stone, I think, on the Hermit, make it that a little bit tougher and do a little bit more damage. Alright, and we have managed to successfully spend our money and I think improve our deck a substantial amount. The bottom floor should be performing really well. It is a bit reliant on getting to this Glacial Seal, which is not a guarantee, but even without it, it should be an okay floor with our champion and the big guard, and then the top. Hopefully stuff gets filtered enough on the bottom that the Husk Hermit can survive the onslaught. And with having all these sweep units, this boss is, well, the boss itself isn't less scary, but the units hiding behind the statues, this shouldn't be as big of a problem as it sometimes can be. The spell shield on these a little bit annoying, but we're likely try to just kill them with damage, and should be okay. Alright, we drew the Glacial Seal early. Is that a good thing? It's debatable. So our plan that we had before of blocking with a Train Steward isn't quite as good this time because they won't actually kill it. We might oddly block with an Animus of Will. Let's see. No, we'd have to cast a spell because otherwise this dies. So maybe this goes in the back and the incant on it, or the armor incant on it ends up being useless. Not precisely what we want, but I do think we want to get this rolling. See, I think the play this turn is then the Glacial Seal in the back, the Tethys in front of that, and the Animus in the very front. The Animus gets shot twice and dies, and then our Tethys takes one hit. The alternative is to play a Train Steward to arrange these better, but then the Train Steward doesn't die, and if we draw our big tank the following turn, we have no way of deploying it, and that really screws us up in a big way. So I'm going to go with this plan instead. As I said, it's a little awkward, but it's still okay. Okay, and we drew a guard. That's excellent. Also out here to tank these hits. I will want to play Cold Celia as well. Those can both go in the middle floor. Get that little bit of extra frostbite going. And might as well eliminate the back unit. And with the spell shield here, oh, this guy has a cat. That's a little bit awkward. So I might not want to do these then. I think I forgot about this, but I think even with knowing about it, I would have still wanted to hit the unit in the back there. Just prevents a lot of damage here. We'll just go ahead and use that. And of course, the nice thing is anytime the boss gets hit with frostbite, we get to keep that going, so that's really good. Here we'll play our Hermit to tank. And this guy should hopefully die to the combined frostbite. We do unfortunately have more of these guys, but we can just go ahead and kill it with a Crypt Builder. And then Fire Grow online. This guy just having the 80 health means we don't have to struggle every single turn in order to keep it alive, so obviously it helps in a big way. And now we get to get some bonus frostbite on the boss as our Glacial Seal incants away. Just punch everything as hard as we can. This guy's not quite dying, but he's not going to do very much damage, so we're okay with it. Already got 40 frostbite on the boss. Really excellent. This statue could be a problem if the boss makes it that far. We can't throw a big spell at it at the end, but it should be okay. Okay, this guy actually doesn't need too much healing, which means we get to use the restoration down here. It's pretty good. Throw this out. I don't think I want to kill this ahead of time, that just makes things harder. So, I could deploy a Train Steward up here to get started on this statue, but it's not likely to do a whole lot, so I don't think I'm even going to bother. I'd rather just spend all my energy here. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and fire these lances, and then pull this guy to the front maybe. And also give him a sap as well. And as you can see, this thing doing absurd amounts of work, as we have 32 frostbite on these guys before champion even attacks. Discard synergies, but that's okay. I think I get rid of the razor sharp edge here, because I'm looking to maybe heal this. It's not even taking that much damage, actually. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's just like that. Do we need the... Okay, this guy's dying already, so we need to Siren Song him. So go ahead and add some extra attack. Add some extra attack, and I guess then we will go ahead and just focus growth. Excellent. We love seeing the boss down here, and it looks like it's final wave next turn. So start with the offering token, of course. Go to some dead weights. Don't want to blow the spell weakness here on something bad, so again, we'll do that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I might as well do that. Frozen lands, play under root seeds, Dragon's Gratitude, get some damage on the boss. And I imagine this just kills, yeah, it does. So we can take this opportunity to get this Gift of Gratitude. I think I'm happy enough to do that, get it out of our deck. Since we don't need to do anything to kill the boss, though as we can see we're barely killing it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get 160 gold, get some other cans. And yeah, I imagine the Frostbite here is just doing its work as it beats away on the armor off the totem back there. Alright, so we got through Phil. Really feeling a lot more comfortable now with the units upgraded. So that's good. Do we want any Gifts of the Guard? I think gets rid of some of our spells that are too important, so I can't quite see that being good. Cycle of Life is sort of interesting to put on our big guy. But with all the sweep we have going, the spikes don't really do anything. It is an expensive spell. And Ice Empire, just a worse version in my opinion of the Siren Song. The only other thing you can do with it is after applying some spell weakness to a boss, you can hit it with a big spell at the end with that, but we already have a couple of spells that can do that pretty well, so no need to pick this. Just go ahead and skip there, and definitely picking up energy as we've been running into energy issues. Had that not been the case, maybe we pick up capacity and get our multi-striker back into the game, but not too worried about that. Alright, so now we can go to another steel merchant and try and finish upgrading the Cold Celia, and this guy, not a huge deal. I really would like to hit this remove, I think. So we'll probably be going that way. And as usual, I forgot to look at what our boss is doing. It's cleansing our Frostbite. Great. It's gonna be a problem, but you know, I think we apply enough of it that it'll still be okay. Alright, so let's go here. And as I'd mentioned in some of my other videos, I'd rather remove the Animus over a Steward because it gets in the way of how the draw mechanics work with the other creatures. So that'll be good. And then let's see where our cave is. Maybe I should have gone here first if we get extra slots. I might have wanted that one around, but it's okay. Let's see. Yeah, it seems I get this event in every run I've recorded, and it's always the same thing. I prefer to just have the free spell and make stuff wander through all our damage once again, rather than pulling it directly up. And in this case in particular with the Frostbite, this is just insane, so take that. I think the only argument for the pulley is that it could get us an encounter on the bottom floor, but not that worried about that. And our champion is going to definitely be applying extra frostbite and have more attack. That seems great. And what are we looking to duplicate? None of our creatures need duplicating for sure, so our good options at this point include, I think, the crystalline seeds and the maybe the big crypt builder. And oddly enough, the drain could be kind of good. We have a problem with sweep units killing our champion, and he's a pretty critical part of our plan. So getting a drain at the right time to be able to weaken those could be quite strong. I think we apply enough frostbite without duplicating the crystalline seeds, and we've kind of moved on to bigger and better things than the crypt builders being a huge part of our plan. So actually I'm going to do that. Maybe a bit of a weird choice, but I think my rationale at least makes sense, yeah, because of exactly this guy. If he hits our champion twice, the champion just dies. And of course we can't take a spike trial for similar reasons, so we'll do the trial off and hope for the best. Okay, and our champion comes without a tank, though again this guy hits him multiple times, or hits through any tanks anyway. It is worrying. We just drew our heal in our opening hand, which means it's not coming back around for a while. And we didn't draw our sap, so this guy is going to hit us. So we could look to maybe set up Tethys on a further floor, but I don't think that quite works either. So probably just set up on the bottom floor as usual, and hope we can hit his sap by the time the second one rolls around. Because the thing is, if we go up a floor, we would still just need to hit a sap on the next turn to eliminate that from happening. We do potentially have the out of a trap shoot. The crypt builder, unfortunately, not quite strong enough. So I don't like this. There's a good chance it bites us pretty strong, but there's not a ton I can really do about it at this point. Though I do think, for the reason that the champion might die, we'll get started on buffing this thing just in case. It's an unfortunate spawn there. We do at least get our bottom floor rolling a bit, these two, and we can play a couple of free spells. That. Maybe I should have killed this for 15 damage save. That would have probably been correct. We did not draw our sap, but we did draw our trap shoot, which we'll probably just be using on this guy here. Let this guy leak through the pyre, it's not too much damage, not worried about it. So we'll get the Hermit tank up here, and then yeah, just stun this to prevent it from doing anything too nasty. Oh, and we got our other healing spells, I didn't even notice. I'd like to apply Frostbite 8, but I think we should just use this. Make sure we survive the next one of these and put it in the front, obviously. It's taking some decent damage, so that's nice. Alright, this guy's still stunned, and now he's dying. That's great. This guy's dying to Frostbite. That's great. So we're just looking at firing off a bunch of spells to try to minimize damage here. Yeah, I guess we'll push this guy back so that we can close the lands 115s. That makes a lot of sense. And then root seeds, of course. No reason not to. I guess we'll just have this guy around. Okay, we have one more sweeper. We drew our other sap, which is good news. Start with the token. Get rid of some dead weight. Firebound Song doesn't do much, so we'll just play the other cards. These lances not accomplishing a whole lot hitting the tanks, but they are giving us the triggers we want. Alright, we got lucky to avoid any really awful things from these guys. Might be a problem again on the final boss, but for now we're safe, and that means we should have the final boss wall in hand here for this fight. And we'll get a heal on our tank. Seems strong. They're dying, we don't care about them. I don't think there's a sweep at the end here, but I'm too worried to do that. So just give you 10 strength, sure. And play a train steward. Yeah, it's just a boss by himself, so we really don't care about it. It's already dying, but I'm gonna have some fun here. Just sapping it for a long time. Okay. There goes the boss, and we can go for yet another drain, and I might actually do that again for the same reasons as before. They do start to get a little bit awkward in multiples. If you have 2 discard random cards, you can't obviously save them both for the end, but I think it's a decent enough effect. Restoring Retreat is actually something I'm interested in, I think. The mutation, we need to just take a quick look at, but I don't think that's where we want to be. No, I'm not looking to reverse my creatures, really. But putting the Gold Celia on the bottom behind our actual tank is really, really good, so I'll keep that up as well. Strong pickup at the end here. And then for our final floor, I really need to remove more cards. We still have 3 Train Stewards, multiple Frozen Lances, like there's a lot of bad stuff in this deck. So, even though the Merchant of Magic could be a nice way to spend some of our money, I think our spells are in an okay spot, and I'd rather just spend more money on removal or maybe a trinket or something. So, let's see if there's anything great here. Spell weakness when they enter the train isn't bad. We usually want to set up on the bottom floor anyway, and so that makes some of our Titan's Gratitude type stuff better, but I don't know if it's worth 200 gold. The healing thing, we don't heal off enough for that to matter. The housing could actually be a pickup here. We are at a steel merchant, so worth taking a look at what's here. Quick on the Gold Celia I like. And then if we bought the housing, we could then maybe look at buying like a Hardstone or something. But paying 240 gold to upgrade our tank with 25 more health seems a little bit silly, so I don't think I'm going to do that. I do think I will take a reroll here first before I do anything else. Okay, rooted in the top floor. It's actually not bad. We don't usually have units on the top floor, but it buys us an extra turn of Frostbite ticking, an extra opportunity to draw Siren Song, This is actually kind of interesting. 3 magic power doesn't quite do enough, even with the attuned making that effect 315. And we don't care about swapping units because we're mostly sweeping anyway. So I'm sort of interested in this. I'll have to think about whether that's better or worse than just removing cards, honestly. Get the stewards out of here. And then, yeah, so we have a couple of different directions that our money is getting pulled to. We have the quick upgrade on the Gold Celia, I think is pretty useful. Once we can get it down on that bottom floor, as we discussed, I can start clearing some stuff out before our tank takes damage, which is helpful. We have the card purges, and we have the mask. And I think I'm going to skip out on the artifact. I'm reasonably confident we can kill stuff before it makes it to Pyre. The Pyre is also a bit stronger, so it can take a few hits. We're at a decent amount of health. So what I'm going to do is get this quick upgrade and then look to just remove a couple of cards. I have to consider what the good removals are, but I'm sure I'll find some. Obviously the last steward's pretty bad. The frozen lances gets triggers, but beyond that they're pretty useless. And the root seeds are okay. The vine grasps also have gotten a lot worse, but they do still kind of contribute. How much was the mask? Waffling back and forth here. Okay, so that's basically all of our money, so we don't get any purges if we do this. Yeah, I'd rather do a few purges. Get rid of our last steward. Get rid of Lance, I think. And then get rid of one more Lance. That just gets us to the cards we need a little bit faster. Alright, and here's hoping we draw things in the right order. Okay, so already some slightly bad news as the bottom floor is smaller, which means we'll probably have to set up in the middle here. But I don't think we can really do anything about that, so set up what we can. And we'll go ahead and just eliminate one of these guys right away. Player focused growth for the trigger, and then do 75 damage. That's pretty good. And the sweep guys are here, so I'm glad we have that sap effect as an option. In the meantime, we drew stuff in a kind of awkward order. Definitely play another vine grasp here. Oh, maybe should have played the seal first, huh? Yeah, we are gonna want to deploy this turn. Yeah, it's awkward, but I think we do. We'll go ahead and play these at the top. Just be looking for this to circle back around. And yeah, we'll stun this again. Really don't want him getting hit by that guy. And the quick here, already helping out a bit, though. Means this guy's gonna get through, but it's fine. Yeah, I think we have to do this down here, unfortunately. Maybe we can kill this guy before he advances up another floor. Certainly go ahead and do all of that. We did not, so in that case, I'm not going to worry about reducing damage here, and I'll just apply a sap to him. For the next turn. bit bit of trouble here as we're getting just absolutely pummeled. Taking 50 damage here. We might actually not be able to survive, which would be extremely bad. Oh, this is a problem. So if you play every single one of these cards, that's 4 triggers of 3. That's not even close to enough. And we can't kill this with our crypt builders, so that's really bad. We're in horrible shape. Oh, I did my math wrong, and we are somehow surviving this turn. Still, our tank being slow on health is obviously a problem. This just keeps spawning more stuff here, but the restoration detonation should help out quite a bit. Let's see, we have 5 energy, so we get to play whatever's left here. I will skip out on the loot seeds for this turn, I believe. No, I'll skip on this. Go ahead and heal. Go ahead and root seeds. Crystalline, of course. Lance, of course. And even though this is dying, I'm still gonna sap it. Okay, we got our restoring retreat, which is going to be helpful. Let's go ahead and play that first, I believe. Should eliminate this damage at least. And then we can play some other cards here. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's only one back now, so I might as well pump it instead. And here you see the trouble with all these discarded random cards, but we will be going ahead and Silence on Me here. Which makes a lot of sense. And hope our sap discards... I know these are all discard cards actually, so... yeah, we're just looking to reduce damage as much as we can, I think. Let's just apply all the saps. It's a little dangerous now, but it's okay. Did not get a way to reduce this guy's attack, which was next to working with no mana, which could be very dangerous. But it is what it is. I think we just get to play every card here, so might as well get on that. Just hit this guy as hard as I can. Dying, that's good. These guys are gonna leak, but they do still have a little bit of frostbite, so hopefully they won't kill me. Yeah, looks like we're fine there. Okay, we're on the final wave with no mana for the time being. Oh, we have 1. Okay, that's helpful. Root seeds, of course. This is not quite dying, which is really unfortunate. It's going to get to do 10 damage. It's very little I get to do here, unfortunately. We'll just reduce some damage. Really just hoping to kill the boss here, so that we won't have to spend any mana dealing with these guys. We're currently dealing a tenth of its health because our tank is extremely weak. But we'll be looking to improve on that. Not sure how much the Vine Grasp does, but definitely be applying more Frostbite. We definitely want to sap the boss as soon as we can here. That. Sure, some damage. And, like, I guess we might as well do this because we can't cast it on this floor. And then we'll want to sap the boss for maximum impact. And unfortunately, we are not doing even close to enough damage, so I think we're probably dead. But let's see how this turns out. Our tank just ended up taking a little bit too much damage. We have nothing to slow the boss down on this floor for the Frostbite to do much. So, yeah. I did forget about that spell weakness there, but I don't think that would have made much of an impact in any case. Okay, pretty unfortunate loss. I thought we actually had a pretty good shot at the end there, but our tank just ended up taking a little too much damage in the early parts of the fight. Yeah, not much more to say there. Frostbite's pretty strong, but you do need time to stack it. I think if the bottom floor had 5 slots, maybe we could have done a little bit better as well, had more time for the boss to kind of take away. Definitely a couple of interesting spots. As you can see, we didn't take any trials practically. Did hurt our gold a little bit, but well, tough loss, but we'll see you next time.